Sean says, why did Games Workshop get it so right with the studio get it so right with Warcry and drop the ball so badly with Kill Team?
An own goal. How could they miss so bad? For someone that is so relentlessly positive in general, those are big words, and I kind of wanted to discuss perhaps a little bit about the differences between Kill Team and Warcry. Now, again, Peachy in this clip immediately stops talking about Kill Team and talks about other things, right? Which is fair. He has nothing to say about Kill Team. He hasn't really played it. He's played it a bit. I'm sure he's played it enough to decide he doesn't like it. I'm not questioning that. But he clearly decided, I don't like this, and he's moved on, right? Cool. So he then starts talking about the game that he does know. And I think then what he says about what he does know, we can quite easily infer he thinks, therefore, that Kill Team is the opposite. And in general, I pretty much agree with him.
I ask that question to myself every time.
One of my big things is, if you want, I want to create more tourists, okay? I want more people playing all war games. Hi everybody, Andy here, and like 3-4 months ago I was doing some hobby, too much hobby, and what do you do when you're doing hobby? You listen to other content creators. I was at this point listening to a 3.5-hour interview between Peachy from Peachy's Tips and Liam Dempsey from Liam Dempsey. Obviously, I'm sure you know, Peachy is originally from Warhammer painting, whatever that's called, and Liam Dempsey is a 40k YouTuber that focuses on the gameplay and news as opposed to hobby. And it was interesting. I watched the whole thing. It was good. I'd highly recommend that you go and check both of these people out and watch the interview yourself, because who knows, maybe I'm going to cut things up incorrectly. At about the 2 hours and 50-minute mark, they finally talk a little bit about Kill Team. They talk for Kill Team for all of about 10 seconds. I'll show you the clip in a moment, don't worry.
It was kind of an open goal, really, because they could have just reskinned Warcry, and I don't think anyone would care. Cause
I quite like Kill Team. I think Kill Team is, in general, a pretty good game. It's not perfect. It's not for everybody. I see issues in it. I can see how it needs to be improved. However, so therefore, I found it honestly pretty illuminating, if you will, to see somebody who has no reason to dislike this game be so negative about it. And he was so negative about it that he didn't even talk about it. As soon as the Kill Team was mentioned, he said, yeah, let's look at Warcry, because that's the best game ever, kind of. And it was like he didn't even want to discuss Kill Team. I thought that was really interesting, because if you tolerate a game, but you're not really a fan of it, you can probably talk about it interesting. Anyway, I'm going to show you the clip. First things first, go check both of those channels out. They're both great YouTubers, both great content creators. They both do great things in their own respective realms. This is really just a launching pad for my own ideas and why I want to talk about how one person can hate Kill Team to the point of changing the subjects as soon as it comes up, over to how somebody can love Kill Team and think it's the best game GW does. Okay, go.
Sean says, why did Games Workshop get it so right with the studio get it so right with Warcry and drop the ball so badly with Kill Team?
I ask that question to myself every time. It was kind of an open goal, really, because they could have just reskinned Warcry, and I don't think anyone would care, because a lot of the 40k players probably never played Warcry.
Yeah.
Which is the same when Age of Sigmar was out. A lot of people said Age of Sigmar is rubbish. 40k is a better game. Then they changed 40k to Dark Imperium, which pretty much used a lot of Age of Sigmar engine related stuff with a few tweaks here and there, and everyone loved it. There was a 40k player. I remember being in the expo, and a guy goes, "Oh, this is a great game, not like that Age of Sigmar game." I was like, "Have you played Age of Sigmar?" He was like, "No, this is the exact same rule system, pretty much." He was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, it's just reskinned." And I wish they'd done that with Kill Team. They end up having this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think they make changes for the sake of making changes, reinventing the wheel. Warcry is easy to pick up.
He straight up says, I won't need to bring any of my rules with me. I just need the cards so that you know what you're rolling. I will teach you the game in 5 minutes, and then you can just run with Warcry yourself. And I agree with him. He is correct. In fact, for any Kill Teamers out there, hopefully some of you are Kill Teamers. If you want to get new people into wargaming, don't teach them Kill Team. Kill Team is not a beginner game, and I cannot stress that enough. Warcry is a beginner game. Warcry is a game that you can give to somebody and say, hey, this is how you move a model, this is how you roll dice. That number there, you compare it to this number, look, that's how you get a feel for wargaming. I think Warcry is really, really good for beginners and people that want a certain level of complexity in their wargaming in general. However, so different angle. Why would that be? Well, it's probably because I had recorded a 20-minute video discussing that 1-minute clip. However, I had reached out to Peachy on Instagram to see if he would elaborate, and it took him a few days. So I kind of stopped thinking he would respond and just recorded my video because I thought, interesting thing to talk about. So patrons, you can get the rest of that rant, which went nowhere, by the way. But then old Peachy boy, Peachy Tips, responded. So I'm going to read this, and this is great content. I'm basically a reaction YouTuber now, right? So I just reached out saying, hey, what's up? He says, hey Andy, to be honest, it was more a personal opinion, which I should have made clear. Proviso at the top, makes sense, but I think we all knew that. That's cool, thank you. As a massive fan of the accessibility of Warcry, mostly for its super easy to understand rules and its intuitiveness, I found Kill Team a lot harder to get to grips with. So with Warcry, within round 1, I pretty much got the rules, which in turn didn't interfere with the fun. However, oh sorry, I'm going to forget every paragraph he says, so I'm gonna respond to that now. I don't know where I've edited this in. However, I agree with him. Yes, Warcry, very easy, very accessible, doesn't get in the way of fun. I think that's a really good way to phrase it. The rules don't interfere with the fun. And I think that actually, I think Kill Team has some amazing concepts and some amazing rules and amazing theme. In fact, the theme, I think it has a stronger theme than it does Warcry. Like, it tells a story with all of its mechanics, but boy, its mechanics get in the way of you understanding that theme, and you need to know the mechanics before you can get to the fun. So, yeah. However, I found Kill Team to be a lot harder to get to grips with from a rules understanding. Don't get me wrong, there are some fun aspects to it, and I really love the teams and scenery made for it. Cool, nice. Just from being within the studios, I could tell they tried to reinvent the wheel for the sake of reinvention, as opposed to looking at what already works from its AOS counterpart. That is almost certainly true from the rumorings that we all hear from the GW design team. It really does feel like they all hate to look at the other person's game. For example, Age of Sigmar, the latest edition, there is so much in there that I genuinely think is just miles better than 40k. However, I think if you were to reinvent 40k, I think you would start with the current Age of Sigmar 4 rules as the base, and then twist it to become 40k, as opposed to start with a 40k base and twist it to become Sigmar. They're very similar rule sets, but Age of Sigmar, honestly, just as a tier above. But because they're both so similar, whatever, but yeah. Some folks would argue it's a different system, so the rules should be different, but as I've spread my wings and played plenty of games, old and new, that's not entirely true. I think that's fair, I suppose. I think I would probably argue against him on that one, as his proviso there. I think that different systems should be different. As I say, I think Kill Team actually has stronger theme and narrative within its rules, and the way they can express that, than Warcry does. But you have to get to it, which is probably what lets it down. AOS and 40k shared a rule system for a few editions, with a proportion of rules being somewhat unique or tweaked, but Stargrave and Frostgrave are a perfect example, a genius rules set that's just reskinned for sci-fi and fantasy. Stargrave and Frostgrave, in case you don't know, are done by Osprey Games. I actually own and bought a warband for Frostgrave, but not Stargrave, weirdly, considering that I'm a Kill Teamer. Yes, so I think there's probably an element of, money involved in that a little bit. So Frostgrave and Stargrave, although being published as rules books by Osprey, are also by the same designer. And if he kind of felt he nailed it, why change it? Whereas obviously in 40k land, Games Workshop, that's the word, all of the designers are individuals, and as far as I'm aware, you tend to, you know, you've got your 40k designers, you've got your Sigmar designers, you've got your Necromunda designers, you've got your independent games designers, you've got your old world designers, you've got your kill team designers. They're all different people, and presumably I would like to imagine they do look at what the rest of the studio is doing, but then say, that's cool, I'll take that bit, but then do my own thing. However, to Peachy's point, if you look at Warcry, which again, we got to point it out, was the only game from GW that ever won any award outside of GW. I imagine they give themselves a lot of the old hand shandy awards around the office, but outside awards, there's almost none of it in Kill Team. So clearly, the Kill Team designer there looked at Warcry, as he must have. That must have been his starting point, and said, "Nah, I'm good." There you go. Which I guess was what I personally hoped. Kill Team would be a reskin of Warcry with more grimdark flavour. Yep. So, I, in an odd way, talking about using Sigmar as a base for 40k, if I were to redo it, as opposed to 40k for a base, and then giving it a twist, Sigmar twist, I actually kind of agree with him here. I think that Warcry has a stronger base than Kill Team. I think if I were to redo Kill Team, I wouldn't take Kill Team and dumb it down. I would take Warcry and lift it up. I think that Warcry has a stronger core in how it just flows so much better. But I would change the shooting, the cover, the melee, etc. And in fact, not to go against Warcry here, but I think that Warcry should be a bit more of a game. I think that Warcry, using Kill Team's melee fighting system, would be infinitely better. Or not exactly Kill Team's melee system, but there should just be a bit more of a game in the melee, because that's all Warcry has. You've got your movement, which is great, but then you just roll a few dice. And I feel like if you took a similar system to Kill Team's melee system, where you've got that back and forth, you've got that mini game, I actually think Warcry would like mind-blowing. I never intended my opinions to upset or get the backs up with the Kill Team community as such, just an opinion on knowing how tribal the design teams can get and how they would deliberately avoid using their competitors' mechanics, etc. Sounds odd, I know, but the studio could get wild at times, so I kind of already answered that, but I don't think anyone in the Kill Team community knows about this interview, really. Liam Dempsey is a 40k YouTuber, and oddly, Kill Teamers and 40kers not one and the same, which I say oddly as if I'm being sarcastic. That's just my tone of voice. I think that is odd. I think it's very strange that we aren't more aligned, to be honest. There's not more crossover between 40kers and Kill Teamers. Kill Team is clearly loved by many and has a great following. I just struggle to engage with the rule system as all. Hope that sheds some light on my thoughts. Cheers, Peachy. P.S. If there are any awful spelling mistakes, I did have a whiskey. Crying laughy emoji. So there you go. Well, patrons, I hope you enjoy the rant that I went on for 20 minutes. Everybody else, that's why Peachy doesn't really like Kill Team and why he likes Warcry. Cool. Thanks for watching. Kill Team, yay. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.